it is Samantha again, and I just had a moment about the moment. And to be honest, I'm having a hard time staying in it, and that is what I want to talk about. What I just figured out, I was just in the bath, and I figured out that, for me anyway, it isn't terribly hard, to get in the moment. What's hard is staying in the moment. And I know I talk to a lot of my clients about meditation and waking meditations, which I do a waking meditation when I give my sessions. I have to be able to do what I do because I use energy and I have to zone into what's going on in that moment. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be told what to do. But basically, I was just in the bath and I realized that I need water. I was told this the last time that I took a bath, which was a few days ago, which Andrew's being so sweet and he's making me get into the bath. But I'm being talked to and I'm recognizing it for the first time. And not that I'm recognizing it for the first time. This is so hard to explain. I am staying with it for the first time. That the water spoke to me and it told me that I need it. And that just sounds plain crazy to me. I feel like I should be in an asylum when I really think about it. So then I stopped thinking about it. But the moment is a very, very interesting thing. It's hard for me to stay in it, and that's what I want to share right now is that process that I just went through. I realized that I needed water, and then I started to think about it instead of just accepting it, and it led me into these cycles that I kept going through. And I was telling myself, okay, so you're bringing yourself out of the moment of the water when you realize that you needed water. So why are you doing that? As I was getting distracted, I would go through a cycle of being frustrated that I was coming out of the moment, and went through a cycle where I would start to cry and feel really emotional because I was really feeling the water and I was really just in that. It's so hard to explain without feeling like I sound stupid or I'm crazy, without feeling that moment of being in the water and how powerful it feels for me, because that's something that I really need right now to help me to grow. And then I would ask, okay, why are you feeling this way? Where is this emotion coming from? Why are you emotional? And that would, so I was going through emotional cycles. I was going through, I would get angry that I would, I'm kind of fighting this one right now. I'm not angry, but getting frustrated because I feel like I want to explain this a certain way. And I'm so caught up in wanting to explain it a certain way that I'm forgetting what I'm trying to explain. It's so weird. So I need to let go of that and think, okay, Samantha, you're doing a podcast right now. What are you doing a podcast on the moment? So come back. We were talking about water and how I went through my cycles of realizing why I need water right now. And it was very difficult for me to stay with it because I just kept cycling, and I would see the cycle and then I get frustrated about the cycle, and I would either get angry or I would get emotional or I would get frustrated or I would start to zone out, and then I would have to bring myself back from zoning out. So I just kept looking at the thoughts that I was having and saying, is this me? And saying, if it's not me and I'm not in the moment, this is taking me out of the moment. Why? What about this is taking me out of the moment? And there were a few times that I just came back to, because I need water and I'm not enjoying the water. So then I would just kind of go back into it and sink down into the water in my bath, and I would feel great and I would be in that moment, and then the cycle would start over again and I'd come back to needing water and I would sink down into the water. And it was very emotional. It was very like a roller coaster. I started to feel like this is why people go crazy, because you're literally, as you are opening up to being in the moment, you are losing your mind. And I saw it today in a different way that I've ever seen it before. You're literally losing your mind when you meditate, when you are doing an active meditation, and you're in the moment, which is what meditation is. It's being in the moment, whether you're doing an activity like me doing the podcast right now, and it's hard. I feel like I'm in active, well, honestly, I'm going way in and out, like really quickly, of in active meditation. I'm trying to stay in it. But like I said in my first introduction, how many times did I say I'm uncomfortable doing this? This is hard for me. So that is bringing me out of the moment, and I keep going up and down and up and down. Oops, and I hit the mic. Okay, take a breath. The moment. I think this is why people go crazy, because they're losing their mind, and whether they know that it's because they are opening up to energy, or is something that's just happening and they don't have any other explanation, or they can figure out why this is happening, and they get caught in that cycle, and they can't get out of it, and they stay there, and they just do the same thing over and over again. Or and it goes to that big of an extreme that literally they lost their mind in that way, and they can't figure out why they lost their mind to that. I hate to use the word level, but it's levels. They can't figure out why, and then they get stuck there, or and then you end up in a mental institution, or you can't figure out why, and then you just come out of it and you go back into zombie mode and you continue with where you're at. Or you can stay in it and you move on with it, and some people get frustrated, and I don't know, it's so hard to explain it. I'm getting caught up in a circle again, I think. I'm getting caught up in a thought circle. Now I feel like one of those insane people again. Okay, so I'm going to let that go, because obviously I haven't figured that out yet. But what I figured out today, and it was beautiful, is that I need water. I need more water. It helped me to open up. The last time I was in a bath, I felt more connected to the water than I ever had before. I felt that the water was holding me, which I talked about, the want to be held like a little baby and trust in babies. And I knew that post wasn't over. Here it is yet again. And that want to be held and to trust. And I realized that I can do that with water. And it's so subtle. It's so subtle, but it's so powerful. And it's not for everybody. I think some people are like that with fire, and some people are like that with air, and some people are like that with earth. And that's where you got the different ways that people can get into their meditation state more easily, is whatever element that they need, and whether that's an element that you stay with your whole life, or whether you are someone who is going to work with a couple elements, maybe combined in some way. Maybe you're someone who's going to work through all 4 elements, or 5 elements rather, and that's your path. But and I just start to think about that, and then I have to stop myself, and I go, Sam, stop. It doesn't matter, because right now in this moment you need water, and that's all I need to worry about. That's all I need to worry about right now, is that I need water. Even though all of those other thoughts come crashing into my mind, and I almost got lost in the moment again and forgot what I was even doing this podcast about, which is the moment. Crazy. And I just checked my levels and I lost it again. Oh, it's so right there and all around, and roller coaster up and down and back and forth. I was so worry in the bath. One of the cycles that I went through was that I had the thought, I want to do a podcast about this. And then my ego kicks in, and my ego's like, well, you shouldn't have to want to do a podcast about this, because this moment is for you. And that's not what it's, it's all about individual growth, and it starts with you. But I'm doing a podcast when I'm incredibly uncomfortable doing so, and I have the moment and think about this, that I want to do a podcast when it's something that makes me uncomfortable. Why would I want to do something that makes me uncomfortable? So that's something in my intuition that I needed to listen to. And then when I decided that, okay, I'm going to do a podcast about this, I went into another cycle of, I'm going to forget what to say. I have to get out of the bath right now, and I have to do it right now, because if I don't, then I'm going to forget what I'm saying. I'm going to get lost. And then I would go through yet another cycle and say, Sam, you're coming out of the moment by doing that. If you got out of the bath right now and got in front of that microphone and tried to talk, you would get completely forget what you're saying, not be able to do it the way that you want to, and because you rushed out of the water, because right now you need water. And I came back to water, and I allowed myself to relax, sink back down into the water, let all of those thoughts go away, and I went just water. Came back to the moment, what I was doing in the bath. And now here I am in front of this microphone, able to feel that I'm leaving some things out that I thought of, but apparently those things are for me because I can't think of them right now. But if I would have gotten out earlier, then I wouldn't have remembered to even tell you that I wanted to get out earlier. It would have just been, I think it would have just been gone. And that's what I've done. And what I'm doing differently right now is able to speak my mind, because I was able to lose my mind and stay in that moment in the water until the water was done with me, or I was done with the water. I don't know. But what happened, we're watching my niece right now, and I could hear, I was in the bath and Andrew's out there with the babies. I could hear both of them crying, and I heard, because I don't know how long this had been going on, because I had my ears underneath the water. I couldn't hear anything. But as soon as I sit up, I hear both babies crying, and I'm like, okay, I need to go help them. He needs some help. I've got the boobies. I've got the milk. I need to go out there and feed him. And it didn't aggravate me, because usually when something like that happens, not to say that I'm aggravated with having to feed my child, because I love feeding my child. I love my son. But to not feel that aggravation of, I was in the bath and I was having my mommy moment, and I only get so much time to myself, and now I have to get up because I have to do this. None of that was there. None of it was there. I laughed and I thanked the water, and I drained the tub, and Andrew came in, and I was like, I'm coming. And then it turned into a whole nother thing where, I did end up getting out so that I could nurse him, and obviously the water was done with me, but I did have a moment where that it crept back up to me that, like, man, he isn't frustrated, and I was frustrated that he wasn't frustrated and he was okay, which is just ridiculous. It's like, I could have stayed in the tub, and then I was like, no. Thank you, water. Thank you. This moment has been beautiful, and I'm going to go now and help with my family. And I'm going to go do that podcast. And that's where I am right now. What I'm going to do after this, I'm not sure. Where this podcast is going to go after this, I'm not sure. But it doesn't matter. And that's something that I can't see. And I need to let go of that fear. I need to let go of the fear of not having something else to say, because I say it all in one podcast. And then it's like, oh, well, I said that in the last one. Or anything like that. It's just fear, looking at fear and asking why, looking at emotion and asking why am I feeling this? And then you have the choice to either accept that you're feeling it and that's where you need to be. Like, I needed to be in water earlier. It's okay if you need to be stuck in a moment. It's okay. That's what's being gentle with yourself is, to tell yourself, okay, I'm stuck here right now. I don't know why I'm stuck here right now, but I need to just feel it. I need to feel it so that I can figure it out and I can move on and let it go. Because if you don't, you're just going to hold on to it. It's going to get stuck in your body. It's going to mess up your energy field. It's going to mess up your physical body. That's what makes us sick. And that's what makes us tired, and that's what keeps us out of the moment. So we need to learn to be gentle with ourselves, and we need to learn to ask why.